Hey Kids Fit crew, welcome back for another snack attack. I'm Hy-Vee Dietitian Amanda, and as a dietitian, I coach people with health. And by doing so, I help them choose different foods that are going to make them feel healthy, strong, and focused. In today's segment, I'm going to be coaching you guys on how to snack healthfully. So snacks are essentially mini meals in between our meals to keep us fueled throughout the day. So just like mealtime, we want to make sure that our snacks are balanced with the nutrients that we need too. So to make that easier, our snack formula today will be pairing some sort of protein and fat with a source of fiber. So our protein food sources will include meat, cheese, hummus, eggs, and nuts and nut butters like peanut butter or almond butter. And that's going to keep our muscles nice, healthy, and strong. And on the other hand, we have fiber. So fiber is going to keep us energized and keep our hearts healthy, and some food sources will include all of our fruits and vegetables and whole grains such as your whole grain tortillas or even popcorn. So for this month, our Kids Fit newsletter focuses all around the 5 types of leadership. So you'll want to make sure that you go and check that out because today's snack is inspired by it. So they talk about the tiger, the owl, the peacock, the koala, and the chameleon. So today's snack is going to be all about the chameleon and celebrating the chameleon leader. Because spoiler alert, a chameleon can adapt itself in several different situations as a leader, and that's a really great quality to have. So today's snack, we're going to be making a chameleon fruit roll-up. You might have had fruit roll-ups before, but you might not have actually made your own. So this is gonna be a ton of fun and very tasty. So all we're going to need for this recipe are 3 ingredients. So you're going to need about 16 ounces of fresh raspberries, or about 2 containers of the small containers at the store. Next, you'll need about a half a cup of honey or agave nectar, and then 2 tablespoons of fresh lemon juice. So all we're going to do with those ingredients is we're going to blend them up in a blender, and then we're going to dehydrate them in the oven, which we'll talk about what dehydration means with food. So first things first, I'm going to add my source of raspberries into my food processor here. This is going to give us plenty of fiber. And did you know the leaves from a raspberry plant can be turned into a tea? Have you ever tried raspberry leaf tea? It's pretty good. You'll have to give it a shot. And it's also going to give us a ton of vitamin C as well. Next, we're going to add our lemon juice, speaking of vitamin C. And this lemon juice not only is going to give us a boost of that vitamin C, but it acts as a natural preservative, meaning it keeps our food fresh for a little bit longer so it doesn't spoil fast. Last, we're going to be adding about half a cup of honey or agave, whichever you prefer. And this is going to make sure that all of our ingredients stick together. And also if you're using like a local honey, it's actually gonna be really good for any allergies you might have, because our friends, the bumblebee, they help, they make the honey, so they're going to be pollinating everything in your area, so it helps build your immune system to that, which helps with allergies, so pretty cool. All right, we have all of those ingredients added in our food processor, and now it's just time to blend it up. And that's all we do. We blend until it's nice and smooth. Next, I have a sheet pan, and you're going to want to make sure that you line that with parchment paper. Parchment paper is different than wax paper, so make sure you guys check that at home. And you'll just want to cut that to fit your sheet pan, and make sure you preheat that oven to 170 degrees. Now we're going to be adding our raspberry puree that we made to the sheet pan with the parchment paper. And you could even do any fruit that you want. So if you want to do raspberries or blueberries or even mango or a combination of those fruits, go ahead and go for it. So after we get it on here, you do want to make sure it's all sort of even on your parchment paper, because if you have some parts that are way thicker than other parts, it's not going to cook evenly. So you'll have some parts that are ready to go while the other parts are still mush. So when we put this in the oven, it will dehydrate. So dehydrate, just like how if we get dehydrated, we lose water, that's what's going to be happening to our raspberry puree. It's going to be taking water out, and it makes it into that fruit leather or fruit roll-up that you guys have had before. So it's going to be removing the water there. And after that's all spread across, we'll add that to the oven for about 3 to 4 hours. If it's still not quite dried up or dehydrated, feel free to leave it in the oven a little bit longer. Now we have our fruit leather finished, and I'm going to show you guys how to make the roll up. So let me grab some scissors. Here we go. Okay, so you guys have seen like your fruit roll-ups before, and I call these chameleon fruit roll-ups because it kind of reminds me of their tongue, which is pretty fun. So after you have this, you're going to take some scissors, make sure an adult is present, and then you're just going to cut straight lines with the parchment paper still on there. And after you do that, you have your line, and now you're just gonna roll it up just like you would a fruit roll-up. And these are so great for school lunch boxes or after school snacks. And you can keep them in an airtight container in the refrigerator for about 5 to 6 days. And you can put a piece of tape if you want to make sure that they stay shut. So pretty cool. But one thing we do not want to forget is, I mentioned we have our fiber source here, but what am I missing? The protein and the fat. That's right. So if you're snacking on one of these lovely chameleon fruit roll-ups, we could pair a handful of nuts or a cheese stick or an egg or even cottage cheese to go with this to make sure that we're balancing out our snack. So give this recipe a try at home. Also make sure to check out the Kids Fit newsletter to learn more all about those leadership roles. And let me know in the comments when you do, what kind of leader do you think you are? Are you more of a listener? Are you strong and independent? Or what role do you take? Do you like to communicate with people more? Or do you think you might be more like a chameleon? So I think it's important to think of different ways that we can adapt in different situations. So if you're not normally a listener, how are you going to listen more this week? Or if you're not really a communicator, what's one way that you can communicate better this week? Write that down, draw a picture, let us know, tag Hy-Vee Kids Fit, and as always, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you at the next Snack Attack.